Dental Fuel, the podcast that focuses on what no one else is talking about: mistakes. The dental world is full of before and afters, and no one is talking about the middle. Dental Fuel brings you the unspoken in between. Dental Fuel is brought to you by Doctors Disability Specialists, a team dedicated to helping dentists and physicians with disability insurance, life insurance, and comprehensive business planning. In this episode, we have Dr. Emma Guzman-Vizcarrondo. Dr. Guzman is a general and cosmetic dentist practicing in New York City. She completed her doctor of dental surgery degree at the University of Buffalo School of Dental Medicine and was a general practice resident at Bronx Care in the Bronx, New York. Dr. Guzman currently practices in Brooklyn, and her main focus is changing her clients' life by improving their smiles and ultimately their health. In our last episode, Dr. Guzman talks about how she grew from a clinical mistake. In this episode, she shares a financial mistake that many dentists face. Learning our value and worth can be challenging. Let's listen in. Emma, pivoting over to a business or financial mistake, what is a business or financial mistake that you have made in your career so far?
Okay, I would say, this topic. I would say that a big financial mistake is not knowing my worth,
Ooh, that's a good one. I like
right?
this.
Not knowing my worth as a young dentist, a new dentist, a woman of color, right? And essentially, in the beginning of my career, now, aside from like the scary practices that you go in and you're like, I definitely can't work here, right? But just taking what they offered,
Yep.
right? Like, now, okay, this is the standard. The standard when we graduated, at least in New York City, okay, $500 a day. If you were offering me $500 a day, okay, I didn't negotiate anything else. I didn't. I then asked to be W-2 because that's another thing too, right? All these little things that they're telling you in senior year of dental school, in residency, that you really don't understand because you're not in it. When they're just like, don't let them make you do 1099. It's supposed to be W-2. And you're just like, I don't even know what you're talking about, right? And then when you go and they're like, okay, here's your 1099. I'm like,
Where do I sign?
I feel like I've heard about this before, but I don't remember why I'm not supposed to do this. Oh, $500 a day? Okay.
Right.
Here's my 1099, right? And that's kind of how it was. A lot of the places in the city, and I've been practicing for 6 years. It wasn't until I was at 10 where I was W-2. So it's like I've always been 1099, where essentially, am I really 1099? Am I carrying my equipment to that office? No. But it was essentially accepting whatever you were offering me, right? Having conversations in the beginning when they're saying, okay, we're going to do $500 a day. And then, in 3 months, we'll visit getting paid off reduction. Cool. Right? Then it's 9 months later and we've never had that conversation. And then I'm also not bringing it up. Right? So things like that where I'm losing out on money, right? Because I'm looking at my production and I'm like, I produce way more than the $500 a day. But who am I to say anything to my boss? I just graduated from school. So for me, and it's just like, and I never thought about it until I read the questions, and I was just like, what would be, as me not being a business owner, I'm like, what would be a financial mistake? And I'm like, not knowing my worth, because there's been too many conversations where I've had with my colleagues, graduate the same year as me, like, wait, what percentage are you getting paid? Oh, 30. Is that not normal? Is that not what I'm supposed to be getting? Same year as me, asking for exactly what they want, telling their bosses exactly what they want, getting insurance, having all these things. And I'm just here like, thank you for my paycheck.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not working for it.
Yeah, I resonate so much with that because I'm at a FQHC and I have a commitment that I had to do with public health and I needed a job. I mean, I applied everywhere. I was having a really hard time to get a job. And so pretty much the first one that bid, and thank God it's been a great place to be, but the first one that they were like, here, this is what we're offering you, you in, you out. I was like, I'm in. Instead of taking a step back and being like, hey, let's negotiate a little bit. Is there any wiggle room? I bring this to the table, XYZ. I think that now, if I were to go somewhere else, the conversation would be different, I would hope. But I completely resonate with what you're sharing with us today.
Yeah. Yeah, and even it's still hard now, right? It's where I know it's like I'm playing back, okay, like this is how much I'm gonna ask for, right? And then you get there and you're just like, oh, what are you offering?
Right.
And it's just like, I don't know what it is. It's just like not used to doing that, right? I was just like,
Right.
it wasn't a thing. Like people never spoke about money in my household, right? Like that's kind of weird. Why are we talking about money? I don't know how much people make. Like it wasn't until I was older where I have my other colleagues who are just like, "Oh yeah, how much you getting paid?" And I'm like, "We're talking about money.
Yeah, that's still
We're
kind of weird for me, but yes,
we're allowed to do that." And
it should be talked about.
it wasn't until my current position where I told my girlfriend that I was applying. She's like, "Ask for this much," and I was like, "Oh, so much." I was like, it's so much, right? So then me playing myself, like I asked for a little bit less than what she said because I felt like what she said was too much. And they're just like, okay. And I was like, wait, no, actually this. And they're like, no. They're like, no. And I'm like, that was so easy. I should have asked for more, right? Because then now when you try to negotiate, they're like, you already said your number. You said your number first.
Right. Yeah, you showed your cards. You
Right.
showed your cards and they were too low.
Right. And even one of my other jobs that I initially applied to, and this was maybe I was about a year out, he was just like, oh, okay, what would you like to get paid? And I was just staring at him. I don't, what do you usually pay your associates? Like, I don't even know how to respond to that. And that was because I don't want to say a number that would sound disrespectful to my boss, potential boss, or sound like who's this new doctor coming in thinking she could ask for whatever she wants, but that's totally in my head because people do it every day, right? So I would say that's a huge financial mistake because I know I lost out on money those first 2-3 years I was
Oh, absolutely. I completely agree with that. So for our listeners, know your worth,
practicing.
ask.
Yeah,
The worst they can say is no. You likely
right.
won't offend them, but it would probably lead to a dialogue and a conversation, and perhaps you'll
Yeah,
get some feedback on better ways to ask in the
yeah,
future.
absolutely.
Join us on our next episode where Dr. Guzman talks about mistakes and challenges when leading a team. Be sure to connect with Dr. Guzman on Instagram @_Dr.Emma and with Ignite DDS @IgniteDDS.